Willie, mercy, baby. This is Shaska Willie. You're listening to Broken Kayfabe with Frankie Seabreeze and Ariel Bologna and Cheese Sandwich. They're like Coca-Cola. They're all over, baby, on whatever network that you find it on, baby. This is Navy SEAL Body Guy, and you are listening to Broken Kayfabe with Frankie Seacrest, Ariel Agbalog, and the Brothership. Now that half-wit, Shaska Willie, better not step on this, or I will step on him, Jack.
Welcome to Broken Kayfabe, the unofficial after show of Breaking Kayfabe with Bowdrin and Barry. Ariel Agbalog, it has been way too long, my man.
Yeah, happy Memorial Day weekend. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
Well, it's over with. It was happy. How about you?
Yeah, it was good. Slept a lot again.
That's my boy.
Barbecued a bit. We barbecued on Tuesday because both my parents were working over the weekend and on Memorial Day, so we didn't have time to do anything until Tuesday. So that's when we did our barbecue.
Well, this is the Wednesday after Memorial Day.
Yeah, and Frankie, are you excited to this date? I mean, I'm so excited. I'm not even going, but the CWF Legends Fanfest is upon us this weekend in beautiful Lutz, Florida.
Wow. Yeah.
How excited are you, buddy?
Buddy, let me tell you what. If I showed you, it'd be a crime.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so Jano, I just woke up. So if I sound a little stupid, it's because I literally just woke up.
Woke up at the crack of noon.
That's noon Eastern, but I woke up
Eastern,
at 9 your time, buddy.
Yeah, but it's that's noon your time.
That's what I do. Well, I have been up a little bit.
Okay.
I woke up and early and did my usual husband and fatherly duties and took the kids to the park and played a little basketball.
Nice.
Which my 13-year-old son schooled me. Then I came home and I needed an old man nap to recover from playing basketball with a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. I'm sorry, my 50-year-old schooled me. My 13-year-old, she also played with us, but she was a little bit better than me. However, my 15-year-old son was just like a young Michael Jordan out there.
Very, very good. You're gonna feel it like later on. You're gonna be all sore. I'm sure you're gonna be sore all over.
Oh, I already am. Already am. So, Ariel, I meant to talk to you about your parents coming over from the Philippines.
Sure.
When it was Asian American Pacific Islander Month. Now we're into Pride Month, so we'll talk about that a little later. Do you mind telling the story of how your parents made it from the Philippines over to the United States of America?
Sure. Okay. It's nothing very spectacular or anything. It's just the opportunity arose. Okay, so my grandfather on my mom's side, so my mom's father, he's always wanted to come here. So when the time was right, when he wanted to move his family over, he took the opportunity back in the early to mid 70s, I think, or somewhere in the 70s. Anyway, I wasn't born yet, so and my mom was in college. She was studying to become a nurse, and she almost graduated. She was like a year or so before she graduated, or she was about to graduate. And then her father was like, I'm planning to move the family, or as much of us as we can, to the Philippines. If you want to come, you need to go now, or else it's going to take years to get, the paperwork and all that stuff, sponsorship or whatever, however they did it back then. But it would take years until she would be able to go. So my mom made the decision to quit her schooling and follow her father to the United States of America. And they came over and settled in I think Southern California first, I think it was around like Santa Ana and Southern California. And then they moved up to Delano, California, which is where I was born. It's right around Bakersfield in the Central Valley of California. And she continued her schooling here. She kind of had to start over again, I guess. I don't know if the credits rolled over or whatever were accepted, but she did go to school and started working here. The more interesting thing is, I don't really know how my dad got here. He came here before my mom did, actually. He was here several years already before she moved over. But the more interesting thing is how they met. They were actually next door neighbors. So they met like that. They were neighbors. And growing up, I had my grandmother's house on my dad's side. And then next door was my grandfather's house on my mom's side. So I had both sides of my family right next door to each other. So I would split my time between one house, go next door to the other one, and visit my grandparent there. Unfortunately, though, I never really got to know my grandparents on my father's side because my grandfather passed away before I was born, and my grandmother, my dad's mom, died when I was like around 3 or 4 years old, so I barely remember her. And that house has been kept by her children, my aunts and uncles. So they inherited the house. Anyway, back in the day, my mom and my dad, they met. They were neighbors, and they were kind of, they liked each other, and I get, started dating and everything and whatnot, and got married, had me and my sister. But other than that, there's really no special circumstance over their migration from the Philippines to the United States.
Well, plus you really don't know your dad's story, or you won't share it with us. But that's okay.
I really don't know. I haven't asked him. All I know is,
how could you not? How could you not?
I don't know. I don't really. Okay, this is gonna sound bad. I don't really care for my dad's side of the family. They're fucking crazy. Okay. And like, they're the ones that. Okay, a while back, months and months ago, I've told you a little bit about my family, or how crazy they are, or how I don't really want to like associate with them when I go over there. And that's mainly because my dad's side of the family are a bunch of swindlers, some crooks, some convicts, some just unsavory people. And I don't want to associate with them. And okay. A lot of them kind of try to screw my parents out of money or some other bull crap. And I don't like it. And so my dad doesn't want to talk about his family. I don't want to bother, asking him about it. So we leave it at that. Maybe later on we'll talk about it.
All right. I'll leave it alone too.
Yeah, for now.
So were your parents from similar areas in the Philippines or completely different?
Similar places. They're both part of they were from the northern part of the Philippines called the Ilocos region, where the Ilocanos come from. Ilocano is a dialect of the Philippines.
Ilocos sounds like loco, which means crazy, which would make sense.
There you go. But my parents were from the northern region of the Philippines. and they lived around the beach areas. So, and they spoke a different dialect, which is different from Tagalog. And they raised me. They talked to me like that growing up, so I understood it. I could never speak it. But I understand what they're talking about when they talk to me in that dialect. And a lot of the cuisine is different from traditional Filipino cuisines that you may know about or people may know about. But yeah, they come from the north. There's some stigma, I don't know, between people from the north and people from the south or of that country or whatever, but I don't really care. We're all the same people anyway.
Well, this
they're from the
weekend
northern.
we were up in Mount Airy where my mother lives, and we just went to see her. And my wonderful wife had this bright idea to paint my mother's kitchen because it was the walls were wood looking.
Okay.
I mean, they were wood, but they were dark, and her kitchen looked dark. So we painted the kitchen, which was a hell of a task. My wife has quite the work ethic. She does not hold back when it comes to working, and she outworked all of us.
Wow.
So not only do I suck at basketball, getting beat by my 15-year-old and my 13-year-old, but I also got outworked by my wife this weekend. And while we were up there, I found a recipe in a book of recipes my mother has.
Mhm.
So I sent you that text if you don't mind pulling it out there.
Let me check it out.
And my mom, she likes like the recipe books that are made by like an organization. Like sometimes like the place she worked for years, 26 years to be exact, in Mount Airy called Spencer's. They made baby clothes. They made baby clothes, and they did a recipe book and then sold it, and they collected recipes from everyone. So sometimes like the JCs or different organizations will make it, or a church will do it, and they'll put the recipes together and then sell them. She loves those, and so anytime I see any of those, I pick them up for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was flipping through, and it was a recipe book from Hawaii, and I found a recipe for, do you see it?
Yeah, I did. Pig's feet.
Pig feet
Yeah.
Filipino.
Yeah.
Which was also your nickname in middle school.
Exactly. How did you know, Frankie? Were you talking about to my mother?
And so here, let's just talk about this recipe.
Sure.
Which we don't know if this is Filipino or not. But it is from Hawaii, where there are a lot of Asians in Hawaii. I know, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
But it could just be the style of the big feet. So you're going to start with 1 medium-sized pig feet, 3/4 cup of vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons of salt, half a tablespoon of black pepper. I had to put my read glasses on.
Teaspoon.
I'm sorry.
Teaspoon.
1/2 teaspoon black pepper, 1 bay leaf, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 cup of water, and 1/2 to 1/4 teaspoon of MSG. Ariel, when you cook, do you put the MSG in the food?
Not anymore. I should though. It makes MSG stands for make shit good.
Okay.
No, but yeah, my mom tried to stop putting MSG in. She used to when I was younger, and then she got caught up in this whole like internet bullcrap about MSG and the nonsense that is affiliated with it. And now she doesn't put MSG anymore. So
what is it?
Like it, I don't know, causes problems or something. I guess if you're allergic to it or if you use vast amounts of MSG, then yeah, you'll probably get sick or feel nauseous or whatever. Other than that, it's basically, to me, it's basically salt or something, you know? Something like that.
Yeah, it's a seasoning.
It's a seasoning. And of course, I guess there's like I don't know, false stuff online about MSG. Honestly, nobody's really done a study on MSG and the effects of it or whatever. But I don't believe any of it. It makes food taste delicious. So, I mean, it is what it is, though. I try not. My mom not. Blah, blah. My mom doesn't put it anymore in her cooking. I'm fine with or without it, but I've noticed it. MSG does enhance the flavor of foods.
Well, it's sold under the trade name Accent.
Accent, yeah.
Produced by B&G Foods. So if you're at your grocery store and you see it, Accent, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so that's the recipe, and I don't know exactly what one medium-sized pig feet is, because it's one, but it's pig feet. So is it a package? I don't know. But then you cut the pig feet into pieces, and it says here in parentheses, the butcher will do it for you.
Of course.
Put the pieces in a pot and add all the ingredients, and you just simmer it until it's tender. But in the meantime, if it begins to get dry, just add more water.
Yeah.
If you use a pressure cooker, use a 1/4 cup in place of 1 cup and cook for 20 minutes under pressure. There you go.
There you go. So that's the basic recipe for a braised pig trotter.
Oh, you've eaten it?
Yeah, I've eaten it.
Oh, wow. I guess one just does not go straight for the ox penis. You got to work your way.
You got to work your way up. Yeah, you got to work your way up to the penis.
So it's just like, when you're with a woman, right? You don't just go right for it. You start with the hands or the, the feet.
Yeah. Working my way up to the penis.
Oh yeah, work your way up to the penis. You start with the hooves and and
then work my way up. Yeah, it's foreplay. It's sex trivia. Some sex trivia for you. I like to work my way around the hoof. Oh man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I grew up eating pig's feet or pig's trotters. That's a simple braising dish. If you added soy sauce, then it becomes adobo. It becomes you're familiar with adobo, right? Like chicken adobo, pork adobo. Basically, it's a protein that's been either marinated in those ingredients and cooked with braised again. But it has like the typical ingredients are the protein, vinegar, soy sauce, bay leaf, garlic, and black pepper, and that's it. But that one's omitting that certain recipe is omitting the soy sauce, so it's just a typical like braised pig trotter. Now I think if you fry it, so if you let me try to think. I think if you marinate it in those ingredients and then you fry it, it becomes crispy pata, which is a deep fried pig's trotter. And I'll try to send you a video of it. It's absolutely delicious. It's if done right, it's really tender. I mean it's pork. It's really tender, it's really crispy. And it's a great dish. I love it. I haven't had it in a while, but it's really good.
Oh, awesome, man! Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you gave us some good information on the pig's feet. In the South they eat pickled pig's feet. I've tried the pickled pig feet. Not my jam. But it is something that's common for probably not much anymore. But back in my day, it was common, and maybe because we were poor. But yeah, I remember going into stores and there would be a jar of pickled pig feet on the counter, and you could get one or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've tried that too. It's not really my thing. Also, maybe because it's a little bit, I guess, the texture of the skin and cartilage parts, or the skin and the collagen parts or whatever. But then again, the ox penis I had was all like that too. So I don't know, but yeah, it's I guess it's an acquired taste. Oops.
What?
Sorry, I was trying to look up a video so I could send it to you about crispy pata, and it was a commercial for Disney World or Disneyland or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, actually, let me send it to you. I'm sorry, this is getting into the podcast.
No, bro. You're all right, man. Don't mind at all.
So, how was your trip to North Carolina?
It was good, man. We did a lot of working, which was a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah.
But I won't tell my wife that, because it really was a lot of work that it was really a lot of work for everybody, and luckily our kids are good workers too, so they helped out. But I mean, pretty much all day Saturday we worked. Like we did some Friday night, some Saturday, and there was some spots that I wasn't happy with. So yeah, but we did it, and I'm very thankful we were able to, because we had just got my mother some countertops done. They're like I think called acrylic, and so they're really, really cool looking. And then she got a new sink, and she's never had any of this new stuff. I mean, the stuff in it was just old and looked bad. And so I'm thankful that we were able to do that. But then my wife she's very zealous, and she is a go-getter, and I'm thankful for that part of her. That's for sure. But the painting was just a little bit out of our skill set, I would say.
I see. That's great though that you helped your mother out, acquiring new sink and countertop, and painted the kitchen.
Yeah, and my mom she does not like help. She does not like anybody to do anything for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she hated it. And so we basically said, hey, well, this will be your all your presents for this year, which up through Christmas. And she kept saying over and over again how much she loved her the sink.
Yeah, don't you love a good sink? I love a good sink.
Yeah. So this one's deep, and it's got, and then it's the strainers are built into it, which they're not like the kind that just pop out. It's like a little basket that goes down in there.
Yeah.
So she absolutely loved it. Absolutely loves it.
That is awesome.
So I'm very thankful that we were able to go up there and spend time with them, but we did work our tails off to do it. And then, so it took all day Saturday, and then part of the day Sunday, and part of the night Friday.
Okay.
But my wife, she puts her her money where her mouth is, and she was willing to work. Well, here's the reason I say that we shouldn't have painted, is because we got up there, and my mom had just, I don't know, a few months ago or some point in time, had 3 rooms in her house painted. And I said, well, Mom, how much did those 3 rooms cost? And she says, I think it was around $200. And I thought, holy crap, we could have paid, I would have paid $200 to have somebody else paint this room. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's nothing. We'd be happy to do that. But we got it done, and it's done, and it's over with. I'm glad we got to spend time with my mom. By the time we left, I was ready to come get away from her, from the dumb shit she says. And yeah, I don't know if your parents are that way, but my mom is sort of stuck in 1950s.
Wow. Yeah.
She doesn't understand a lot of cultures or different lifestyles or things like that. So it can be a little unnerving sometimes, where I'd say, hey, don't say that around the kids, or whatever.
Yeah, I understand how that can get frustrating, especially how you are. I mean, what you believe in, what you don't believe in, and your ideals.
Yeah, I'm crazy. I believe you should love everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, of course, except for pedophiles. But I hate to say it, but hey, I think everybody, no matter if they're gay or they're black or they're white or they're Asian or they're whatever, that they deserve love. I mean, call me crazy, but I really try and love everyone. And speaking of a loving relationship, let's go to my conversation with brother shipper Marc Russ that I met last year at the CWF Legends Fanfest and hear a conversation between two crazy Florida men. Girls, no. That's how it always is. When you start doing something, you got to discipline the kids.
What are they? What kind of dogs are they?
Well, so I've got an old man that is a Yorkie poo, and he's on his last leg. And then I've got a Shih Tzu Yorkie mix, so Shorkie. And then we have a Morkie. So they are about 15 pounds, 10 pounds, and 6 pounds.
Oh,
and
that's
the Morkie is about a year old, a year and a couple months. So she's like a toddler.
I see. We don't have any dogs. We got a cat. Our lifestyle doesn't permit us having a dog. Well, at least, we don't want to commit to having a dog, so we know it's best not to have one. We live vicariously through my sons, my kids, and my wife's boss. They have all kinds of dogs. So we get our dog filth from that.
How many kids you have?
5.
Wow.
1 biological and 4 others. I don't call them stepkids. I call them my kids. But
I'm the same way. I've only had mine for 3 years, and so mine are 15 and 13.
I gather. Oh wait, the best is yet to come.
Yeah. They're great kids. I tell my wife all the time. I say, they're much better than they would be if I'd raised them from the get go. Like they're really super sweet, awesome kids. And I mean, my daughter and I, we're really close.
I kind of feel the same way about mine. My wife did such a good job. So other than, teenage years, everything's gone pretty smoothly.
Yeah. It's been the same with us. I mean, I have a harder time with the dogs than I do with the kids. I mean, they're really sweet, and my son's just getting ready to start driving.
Lovely.
So I'm a little worried about that.
Is he 15 or 16?
15. He'll be 16 in September 10th.
I don't think they do learner's permits anymore, do they?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So he's got the learners. He's had it since September. We bought him a 2009 Ford Escape Hybrid. So that he would practice on his own car, because we weren't going to let him drive the wife's Maserati or my convertible Mustang. So he's been learning on his and doing great, but then the hybrid battery just died on it. So we have to put a new one of those in.
Well, it's something to learn on, and sounds like something safe for a beginning driver. These parents are crazy. They buy their brand new driver, their kid's 16, they buy him a brand new Camaro, Mustang, or Cuda or Challenger, and they just go off and kill themselves or somebody else.
Yeah, my daughter goes to a Christian school here, private Christian school, and you go through that parking lot and see what those kids are driving. It's just crazy. It's crazy. BMWs. I graduated in 1993. We had one person in our school that drove a BMW in high school. One. And there's a couple and Chargers, some muscle cars in there that there's just no way I would let my kid have something like that. So, my wife is really smart. So she's like, well, we got to get him something a little larger, a little higher up, something safe, and so we picked out a good car. Unfortunately, we didn't think about the hybrid battery croaking.
Yeah.
But apparently you got to drive them all the time. So someone that we talked to, they're like, you have to drive it. And this is 09, so they weren't, too long on the market. But you got to drive them almost every day, or that battery will go bad.
Okay, I guess driving it around charges the battery.
Yeah.
Or do you have to plug it in?
No, it just drives. Yeah. And so it gets like 36 miles to the gallon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's what she was thinking, because he's going to be asking for gas money.
Mm-hmm. We've been through all that with our kids and now grandkids. There are so many $5,000-$6,000 pieces of junk out there that you think it'd buy you a decent car, but they last about a month and then it just breaks down. So we've been trying to help them out to get better cars.
Yeah.
That kind of deal. So,
man, when I moved here, which was on December the 26th, 2018, I had a 2007 Pontiac G5 with 65,000 miles on it.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, I had to put oil in it every now and again, and if I sat too long at the stoplight, I drove off. I left everybody in a little bit of a cloud. So we had that probably 6 months that I was here, and I told Jan, I was like, I can't be driving through the kids' park and school. They both went to the private school then, and picking them up in this jalopy. So she said, all right. So we got a Volkswagen Passat, and we had that about a year, and we were talking about maybe just getting something on the beach, like a convertible or one of those slingshot things or something nice where we could just go out and ride around. And she looked one day online and she says, how about this Mustang? I said, dang, I never thought about a Mustang. And so we got that, and I absolutely love it.
What year is it?
2019.
2019. Is it the EcoBoost or is it the?
Yes.
Okay, cool. My wife had a 2016 EcoBoost, and she loved it. She's sorry she got rid of it, but you couldn't fit any of the grandkids in the back, so she's kind of sacrificed her nice car.
Yeah,
a Toyota for a Hyundai Santa Fe, which is a pretty good car.
Okay, yeah. What is the EcoBoost? What's the deal with it?
EcoBoost is a turbocharged in the Mustang, I think it's a 4-cylinder, and in some of the bigger vehicles they have a 6-cylinder, but it's turbocharged. That's why they call it EcoBoost, and it ran pretty good for a 4-cylinder.
Holy smokes, man! This thing will freaking go. It's got to be a 6-cylinder.
Yeah, it could be. You've got some. If you look around in the settings and stuff like that, it has performance timers where it'll tell you your 60-foot, eighth mile, quarter mile. You just have to dig around in there and find them.
Yeah. I found the tracks and that. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, this thing it'll go. I mean, unbelievably. I didn't think. I thought it would be just like same motor as my Volkswagen that I had. But I mean, I'm telling you, I could give it a little gas and I'm spinning coming around every single corner.
Yeah, that's fantastic technology. What they do today. I had a Mustang for almost 20 years. It was a 5-liter. It was an '89. I just had so much fun with that thing. It was just indestructible.
89.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember those.
They call them Fox bodies.
Yeah. When I go down this road, so we live on the beach, and so the road is. I'm sure your roads down there are similar. It's narrow, and you can barely fit 2 cars, to pass. And I go slow because there's kids all over the place. And I think back to when I was a kid, there used to be this neighbor, and he had 2 kids that were my age, and he had like a 66 fastback, and he would come down in his Mustang, just putting along, usually have a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And I'm like, I'm that guy now,
Yeah. When you get to a certain age that you can either A, afford it, or B, you don't have, your obligations aren't as heavy. Why not? But I'm a gearhead anyway. I'm a car guy. I always have been since I was a little kid, started building models. And so I've always had some car that I liked. I tend to keep them a long time too. I had my Mustang for almost 20 years, and I've had this Corvette for, I don't know, 11, 12 years now.
Mm-hmm. What was your first car?
Very first car, it was a 69 Nova SS396.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it was pretty fast, but it was a piece of junk. And I didn't have neither the money, nor the time, nor the tools, nor the know-how to keep it running. So, I mean, to keep it in tune, put it that way. So I sold it and bought my mom and dad's 71 Monte Carlo, which was a nice car.
It was it was bigger, right?
Yeah. Monte Carlo is like, they called it a personal luxury car back then.
Well, that was the first car that I remember my parents having, was a Monte Carlo.
Oh, really? What year?
I don't know. I'm gonna look at the picture of yours and see if it was similar. But it was like that. It was a bigger car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I've had a plethora of cars. Corvettes, several Camaros, an SS Chevelle, down through the years. But I like the one I got now, so I'm gonna keep it for a while too.
So I think my parents was a 73.
That was that was right when the body style changed. There was 70, 71, and 72 were one style, and then 73 started, they changed the whole thing. It had not a Landau roof. It had an opera window in it. It had a little opera window in the back seat.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was two-tone. I remember that. Well, when I say two-tone, I mean the body is one color, then that back piece that was sort of like leathery material was another color.
They call that a vinyl roof.
Yeah, vinyl roof. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Mine had a white vinyl roof, and then it sat outside obviously, and it started rusting and leaking in around the bottom rear window corners, and so I had the vinyl roof torn off and repaired the rust and had it all painted one color. So,
well, my first car was a 1980 Cutlass Supreme. It was a V8, and I hit a kid on a bicycle in it, and totally his fault. I was going about, I don't know, 15 miles an hour maybe, leaving my girlfriend's house, going to work, and so I'd had my license less than a year, and 3 kids came out in front of me, and so I'd slowed down. They just passed me, and I just gave it some gas to start going again, and then the 4th one just ran the stop sign, and it threw him up on the hood, and it was, one of those life events where everything is in slow motion. I can still see it. I can still see him up on the hood twirling around, and it broke. I say but it broke his leg, and he had a little gash on his head. But the money that we got to fix my car, I just took and traded it and bought a Jeep. And my dad was a little hot about it. He said, because my dad, everything was my fault. So if I fell and I cut my leg, yeah, it was my fault. Oh, I shouldn't have been jumping.
Stupid.
Yeah. And so he says, well, if you hit a kid on a bicycle on this Jeep, you're going to run right over and kill him. So, if you do, you're probably going to jail. Oh, okay, great, Dad. But I had the Jeep till I got in the military, and I wish I'd never gotten rid of it. It was an 81 CJ7.
Seems like everybody but me has a Jeep. All my friends have Jeeps. My one buddy in Indiana there, he tows his Jeep behind his motorhome, and it's just a lifestyle around here now. Everybody's got them. They have these Jeep dealerships where the Jeeps are already, lifted and got big tires on them and all that kind of good stuff. So they're popular here.
Yeah. So I paid $4,500 in my car for that Jeep. And so I looked at the price of them, and we're talking $45,000. The ones that are on the lot these days.
Oh, or more.
Yeah. That's just the sticker that I see. Driving by, and that's initially what I'd wanted. However, my wife's ex-husband had a Jeep, has a Jeep still. So there was no way I was going to get a Jeep with him having a Jeep. And it was something that she bought right before the divorce. And so she had to keep paying that Jeep
Okay.
and then it was kind of a big deal when she paid it off.
I know how all that works.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there was just no way I was going to get it. And I was telling her, I was like, it'd be nice to get up in the morning. It's Florida, so you don't want to be out in the midday with the top down. I was like, but if we get up in the morning and go get coffee or go to the flea markets or whatever, yard sales, we can have a convertible, and then at night go get ice cream, whatever we do in the evening. It'd be so nice to ride on the beach with a convertible. And she's like, yeah, done. She found it, said, do you like this? I said, yep, bought it, and they got it delivered.
Nice. Yeah, those are nice cars. You'll like it.
Oh man, I absolutely love. I mean, the kids love it. A trillion times better, than the old smoking 2007 Pontiac. But I was attached to that car because I had bought it in 2007. It took me forever to pay it off because in 2008, at the end of 2007, I bought a nightclub. And at the end of 2008, it burned down. And so I lost pretty much everything I had. And I got behind on that car. At one point, I was 6 months behind on the car. And they would have repoed it had they been able to find it.
Find it, exactly. I know it works too.
Yeah. And
house or behind the garage across town.
Yeah, they didn't even have my address. And so I went to work. Eventually, it was with my wife. And back when she was still married. This is 2009. And I worked and got it paid off. And I was so worried they would find it parked at work and I would just come out and it was gone. Finally got it caught up. And, it was good to not have that debt or that hanging over my head anymore. So after going through this traumatic thing and working so long to pay it off, I was just attached to the car. It was hard for me to give it up.
I get it. I get it. Trying to wean myself off getting attached to inanimate objects just for sentimentality. But like the Mustang I had for almost 20 years, a Corvette. I don't know. You do some work, you put some work into it, or you do a lot, and you just hate to give all that up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He built his own race car, and all the work and effort he put into that, and beautiful, and he sold it. And I said, God, man. I said, I admire your ability not to get attached to material things.
Man, that was my dad. My dad would buy a motorcycle, take it, get it painted, have me fall in love with it, and then I come home and it's gone. He did it with boats all the time. He was always buying something, fixing it, and then it's gone. And I'm like, I thought you liked it. He's like, I did. I don't anymore, but made some money off of it. And he did that with like a 1981 Ford conversion van, the white panel van. He put windows in it and carpet, a bed, the nice seats. He did all this stuff and put it in car shows and won all kinds of trophies and whatever. And then just one day was like, I'm done. Got rid of it and it was gone. And then we saw the people let it go to crap.
Yeah. I've seen my Mustang once or twice after I first sold it. It looked fine. It looked great, but I haven't seen it in quite a while. I think he's up in Fort Myers if he still has it.
So where do you live?
Bonita Springs.
Bonita Springs.
That's between Naples and Fort Myers.
Maybe it's you, but or someone else lives in Bonita Springs. Maybe it is you. Are you the only one in our group that's in Bonita Springs?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how far is that from like Sanibel?
Well,
you're farther down, right?
A little bit. It is probably 40 minutes for me to get there. It's not that far, but you just have to go so slow on Sanibel, and you got to go through, Fort Myers, or you can go up through Fort Myers Beach on the causeway, but that's even slower. And
yeah.
So we picked up last FanFest. Bob Collins and I picked up Jerry Jarrett at a condo in Sanibel. So
yeah, I think that he's actually has one where our friends have one, Casa Ebel.
Yeah. He said his family's had a condo there forever, and they come down every once in a while.
Yeah. So one of our friends back in Wilmington, North Carolina, her family has a couple, and we actually went there. We didn't stay at the Casa Bell last time. Well, we don't usually stay over there on the beach. We usually get a place that's off the beach. But we were there maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, just to see her because she just went through all this cancer treatment. And that's the thing that she was looking forward to. So her family came down, got a condo on the beach.
Nice.
And so we went and spent time with them. They're really good folks.
Well, that's really good. That's nice that you can spend some time with them.
Yeah, my wife, one of the first vacations that we went on, we took the kids to Orlando to Disney World. And my wife found this place, which looked great online. We got there late at night, so it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And we had my niece with us, and we got in there, and it was just a disaster. Stains on the floor, things broken, lights flickering like it does in a horror movie, people loud. And so we left, and the next morning we got up and went to, I don't know, Marriott or some Hilton Garden, and it was over there closer, and it was so nice, and they had a free happy hour, they had free breakfast, and they had free appetizers at night. And so, and at this hotel that was crappy, we had breakfast, and it cost like $70 for us to eat this crappy breakfast in this crappy hotel.
That's
so
expensive.
Yeah, so it worked out that this place, and the price would be about the same, maybe a little bit more in this nice hotel, better part of Orlando.
Right.
So I always joke my wife because she looks for the frugal, but the place that she got last time was called Tiki something, and it was really cool. It was like a studio but with a wall, and we have 2 teenage kids, so we got to make sure they're comfortable. But it was absolutely. This place was absolutely perfect.
It's a little longer way to Orlando for us than it is for you. So when we go up, we usually go up for at least 2 days, sometimes more. And we stay at we always stay at this one place. It's north of Disney. It's right on I-4, and it's like condos, but you don't have to own them. You can rent them, and it's this big. Can't remember what the name of that is. But anyway, we've been going there for 10 years just because it's close. You can get an Uber and hop on over to practically any restaurant you want. Cuba Libre is our favorite, so we go there every time, we visit Orlando.
What's that?
Cuba Libre?
Uh-huh.
It's a Cuban restaurant.
Okay. It's
our favorite. So, we like Cuban food, and that's about the best we've ever had.
Yeah. So have you haven't lived in Bonita Springs your whole life? You moved from somewhere else, right?
I've lived in Bonita Springs since 1960.
Uh-huh.
I lived in Illinois from the time I was born till about the time I was 3 years old. And then we kind of did the snowbird thing back and forth. And then when I was about 8 or 9, 7, something like that, we stayed permanently. But I was teasing Chris Zaha. I said, I didn't know you were from Illinois. He goes, yeah. I says, well, I was born right around where you were, Libertyville. He goes, get the F out. So because he's up there around Crystal Lake and stuff like that. I haven't been back up too many times, so it's just all different now. It's used to be farms and dairies and all that kind of stuff. Now it's just all houses. But every once in a while we'll go back, and I have cousins that live a little north of there in Milwaukee, and they drive us down, and we look at the places where I used to live. I usually take my uncle, and he shows us where Mom and Dad's first houses was. So that's kind of cool. But
I love those trips.
Yeah. And I spent some time with my cousins several summers up in Waukegan when it was a nicer place than it is now. And had some really good times there. Really, really good times there.
Yeah, my town is Mount Airy, which is in the north part of North Carolina, and it's the world's largest open-face granite quarry is there. and Andy Griffith is from there. And we used to have a ton of textile mills and tobacco farms.
Mm-hmm.
And so pretty much all that's gone.
Yeah.
But the town is pretty much the same. I mean, in terms of layout, there's not been a whole lot of developing in that area because there's not a whole lot of jobs.
Right. Right.
In 93, it moved to Honduras with NAFTA in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And so it closed out. I remember that was traumatic for my mother.
Sure.
After 26 years at a place, my mom is such a hard worker. She would drive in the snow, and when she shouldn't have been driving up and down those foothills, and she was just laid off. They sent to work elsewhere, and I remember she was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do now. So she ended up a year or so later becoming a lunchroom lady.
Mm-hmm. Bonita Springs, when I moved here, was a little fishing village. The summertime population was about 2,000. Some of the roads were all shell, and they slowly start paving everything. And then the S hit the fan right around 1987 because a big development opened up. It was called Bonita Bay. And where we used to hunt and fish and camp and all kinds of stuff, they developed the whole place, 3 golf courses and stuff. And then it was Katie bar the door. I mean, all these other companies start coming in and developing stuff. And, as Bonita's just changed. I have friends who, they just can't wait to get out of here, or they moved and they don't want to come back. They think the town is ruined. And I go, well, yeah, it's not like it was when we were kids. It was a great place to grow up. But, I kind of like having my choice of doctors in town. I kind of like the kids having air conditioning in the school because we didn't have it. And, or you don't have to go to Naples or Fort Myers to get your clothes and all that stuff. So there's plenty of restaurants. So there's a big trade-off, it's, and plus I can't complain with my mouth full. It's fed my family for all these years. So I really don't have the right to complain.
Yeah. My town is, and it's interesting. I just kind of learned about 2017, maybe 2018. 2017 is when it was, of what actually happened. So when those mills closed down, a lot of these people didn't want to drive 35 miles to the next town. So they went and they got on disability. Mm-hmm. And so they would have all these prescription pills in the house, plus their kids saw they weren't working. And these people got addicted to the pills, didn't work. Now the kids don't have any work ethic, and that's the generation that's came up that have all turned into the meth heads.
Yeah, that's a big problem in the country. Meth and with the oxys. I don't know all the drug terminology, but I know around here the oxys and stuff like that, and it decimated the kids in our my kids' age group, at that point in time, from the 20s to the 30s, 35, everybody was on it. Mm-hmm. Everybody was on it, and you could tell because they wouldn't come to work, or you could just tell, they're working hard, but they're not getting anywhere, driving around in junky cars that don't run and barely not making rent, and sometimes not making rent, and having the lights shut off. And, it was all because of those oxys or blues or whatever they want to call them. Mm-hmm. And it seems like all the kids that were into that have gotten away from it now, because I know some of my kids, and then my kids' friends, they just all kind of gotten it out of their system, which is good. When I was young, the drug of choice, well, there was pot and cocaine. I never did cocaine. But I knew people that got addicted to it. And it seemed like they could just quit when they wanted to, But this stuff they have nowadays, it's really, really tough to get off. And, and, they've restricted those things so much that now it's just cheaper for the kids to go get heroin down on the corner.
Yeah.
So there's a big epidemic around here.
Yeah. There was my mom has the scanner. I don't know if your folks or you ever had the scanner that's going all the time, and it used to have police on it. Now it's just, that's encoded. So you only get the rescue or whatever. But my mom listens to it and she'll tell me, they had so many overdoses or code whites or whatever she'll say. And she said that there was a guy one day who had taken like a outlet cord like to the TV, cut it off, and had the two exposed wires, and was somehow using that to crystallize insect repellent.
Oh God.
And was snorting the insect repellent somehow off of these wires and electrocuted himself. And it's like, man, the craziness that these people will go through.
Desperate.
Yeah.
Desperate. You could cut all the drugs off in the world and somebody would find a way to smoke grass clippings and get high. I mean, it's just, innate. People want to have some type of altered consciousness, I guess.
Yeah. So before we talk about wrestling, I saw last night you had some fresh grouper your son-in-law caught.
Snapper. Mm-hmm.
Snapper. Okay. Yeah. So you fish yourself?
No. One of the reasons we welcomed my son-in-law into the family a few years ago is because he loves to fish, but he doesn't eat it. And I don't fish, but I love to eat fish. Mm-hmm. So it's like a match made in heaven.
Man, that works, huh?
Now, I will say I'll throw a cast net every once in a while, but as far as a pole and things like that, I've got a mullet net that I haven't been really successful with. It's not a bait seine net. It's a 16-foot compass mullet net. Mm-hmm. And I've thrown that a little bit and never got any good at it, but I kind of enjoy that when I get a chance. But no, I did enough fishing when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I got into fishing in, I'm going to say 2009, and fished more actually before I lived on the beach. I being in real estate, I always would have a couple poles in my car. Mm-hmm. And if I had, 10, 15 minutes, I would stop and do a little fishing. But here, I didn't go out a whole lot last year, but the year before we did a little bit of night fishing that the kids like. But I've got probably, I don't know, 15 rod and reels up here on the ceiling and in the back. And hopefully this year I'll get out a little bit more and do some fishing, because it's just right. The beach is just right here across the street.
You're like my son. Fish from the fish off a bridge. They take out like a little aluminum John boat at night, and they go shark fishing. And there's a story that he tells, and his mom swears it's true. They got this shark in this 12-foot aluminum John boat, and they got him in, and they rode on his back. I mean, they sat on him all the way in so they could get to the shore and clean him,
Wow.
And shark nuggets aren't bad when you deep fry them. Mm-hmm. So they do all that kind of stuff. And he tells me, don't worry about sharks in the Gulf. Watch out in the canals. He said, those bull sharks and black tips cruise the canals, he said, and they're aggressive. But in the Gulf, never had any problem.
Yeah. I didn't know this out moving here, but, it's 8, 10, 12 feet deep out 30 miles. Then you drop off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. We have a little boat. It's like a 19-foot bottle rider, and Tammy and I take it out sometimes, not as much as we used to, but we go several miles offshore where the water clears up and you can see the bottom. You practically see 20 feet down. It's just beautiful. We've seen some pretty good sights out there.
Yeah, we have been out there fishing and swimming all at the same time and caught 3 or 4 foot bonnet heads. Mm-hmm. and brought them in, and they've never bothered anybody. I think they mainly eat shrimp. Mm-hmm. And but it's really cool to bring those in. But we like going out there. My son, that was one of his highlights a couple years ago. Was he caught one, and I've got a picture of him, pulling it out and holding it, and he loved it.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy down here. Some of these kids, what they do. My kids have a friend. Since we're talking about animals, my kids have a friend, and they call him. His name's Tim, and they call him Gatorbait Tim, because Tim was foolish enough to go in a canal out in Golden Gate Estates at dusk,
Oh Lord.
and an alligator bit his arm off, or bit his forearm off. Yeah, and he's okay, but that's what we used to swim off the bridges here in Bonita. There was always a little alligator sitting there in the water, and he was little enough that he wasn't going to bother us, and there was a good dozen of us screaming and jumping off the bridge, so he wasn't going to come around. But I'm telling you, now, since they're not on the endangered list, but they are protected, and the population has grown so much that people encounter these things all the time. And I was building houses in this one subdivision that had a lot of lakes, and I had to tell my cleaning lady, I said, and the water was high because it had rained in the summer. I said, be careful when you walk around the outside of the house. You never know when there's a gator laying there. And she never ran into one. But it's just, something that you get ingrained in your head. Whenever I go up to a pond or a creek or something like that, I always look down and look around and see if they're there. But generally, they don't bother you. You throw rocks at them, they'll leave,
Mm-hmm.
But the tourists, they like to feed them.
Yeah, no.
And they lose their fear of humans, and that's when, things go south. Hey, I got to tell you, I'm a little long-winded, so if you need to nudge me into the lane a little bit, go ahead.
No, man, no, I'm enjoying it. I think we're doing great.
Yeah. So what are you going to call this podcast? I figured you're going to call this episode Grumpy Old Man, but you used that moniker a couple of podcasts ago. So what are you going to call this one? Florida Man Arrives?
Yeah, I was thinking something to do with Florida Man. That's why I was getting to the Florida stuff.
Yeah.
But you're not the quintessential Florida man. You're a little normal, Mark.
Well, you're right, and I'm not the quintessential Florida man, but what winds up happening is when people don't make it somewhere, they figure out, well, I'll just not make it in Florida, where I can hunt and fish and not freeze my ass off. So, not to look down on anybody, but that's a lot of the reason for it. People who either have to relocate for whatever reasons from other parts of the country, wind up down here, and things happen.
Yeah, it's great weather.
Yeah, it is. I've done some rednecky stuff in my life when I was a kid, but I don't consider myself a redneck for whatever that term means. But I get along with everybody. I can do the redneck stuff, or I can talk cars with somebody, or I can talk wrestling with somebody. So.
So you were building. Do you still build, or you still have the website?
I still have the website. I've got one project underway, and that's it. I've been turning down phone calls or turning down work for the last 6 to 8, 9 months, and I'm trying to wean myself away from that. It's just I've always been a one-man operation. I'm more or less a construction manager. I have the license. I meet people and build a house on their lot and things like that. But I don't pick up a hammer too much anymore. And so I'm basically a construction manager, and it's getting tough for small firms like me. It's the regulations that are changing from municipality to municipality, and it's tough for me to keep up with all the paperwork when you're actually supposed to be out on the job supervising. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm going to be 65 this year, and I know several of my contemporaries have worked past 65 in their 70s, and they all wind up falling off a roof or cutting their hand off or something like that. So I says, you know what? I don't have to do this anymore. So
what county are you in?
Lee.
And how many municipalities are there in Lee?
Well, there are City of Bonita, unincorporated Lee County, the village of town of Estero, and the village of Fort Myers Beach. Then there's Cape Coral. And all these places have their different building departments. And I refuse to go into Collier County. I refuse to go into Cape Coral or Golden Gate Estates or Lehigh Acres. I'm not going to go there. It's just, I have too much work here that I know I can make money on and not have to guess, when I go out to these places.
Well, in Pinellas County, we've got 24 municipalities.
Wow.
And a million people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so crazy, driving. You'll be 1 minute you'll be in Seminole, then you're in Largo, then you're in Clearwater, then you're back in Seminole.
Yeah, my grandparents used to live in Largo.
Okay.
Right, I don't know if you're real familiar with the town, but right where the high school football field is, they used to live on a road that abutted that. And I'd go to see them. It was my mom's father. And we listened to football games and stuff right next door. So. But Largo is not a really nice place anymore. It's gone a little downhill. So
has it?
It has from when my grandparents lived there back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Late 60s, early 70s. That kind of stuff.
We've been looking. We've thought about selling, and just because the market's so good and we're on the beach. So if we could sell it and make quite a bit of money, then we would move. And so we've looked in Largo, we looked in Seminole, and Jenna still looks occasionally to find the right deal. But it's, we'll be overpaid when we sell this house, but we'll be overpaying when we buy the next one.
Yeah, it's the same old story. Where are you going to go?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a building contractor, and I've been in this house for 23 years. And I said to Tammy, you want to do something different now? The kids and grandkids are all out. So we started scoping around, and I know where we want to live, and it's a little north of here, in town though. But I started going out there and scoping out the lots that used to be $40,000 and $50,000. Now they're $250,000. And of course, I'm going to build something that I want out there. So I realized it doesn't matter if I get $650,000 or $750,000 for the house. I'm going to spend that as much or more on this move. And I go, screw it.
Yeah.
And here, we're going to get in, start a big remodel job here next month. So I guess we're locked in here.
Yeah. So a neighbor across the street sold, I want to say 2019. And we wish that we had known that she was going to sell, because we would have totally bought it. But the realtor used it as a pocket listing. Never put it on the market. And it brought 606. And the people lived there a year, and then this year knocked it down, and they're building something else on top of it. So it's like buying a house, $600,000 just to tear it down. I told that story last Friday. We went out to eat and up on the water in Indian Rocks. And I told that story to our friends, and they said, well, get this, on our street, and then they live on the water up in Bel Air. And they said someone bought a house for $2.4 million, bulldozed it.
Yep.
Crazy, right? That's some money. That's some money.
They do that here too. There's the houses on the beach, and they're nice houses. Pay several million for them or whatever, and knock it down. Put up a multi-million-dollar mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-story concrete castle, I call them.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're doing that here all the time.
Yeah.
I actually built a house for some people where they asked me, is it better to knock this one down and build a new one, or build a new one on this lot we own over here? And we ran the numbers, and I said, actually, you're going to save about $100,000 by just knocking this one down and letting us build you a new one right here, rather than going through that. Because it was a wooded lot, and there was cypress on it and wetlands, and that has added a couple of years to the timeline anyway. So I did that for him, knocked the house down, built him a nice big new house.
Wow.
And it worked out for him. But at that point in time, that was like 2010 9 or 10, the places weren't worth quite what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, let's talk a little wrestling here before we wrap up. What's your earliest memory of wrestling?
I got into wrestling in the mid to late 60s. You got to realize that back then there was no Tampa Bay anything. No Rays, no Bolts, no Bucks, not even Tampa Bay Rowdies. And Miami might as well have been, another country.
Yeah.
Dolphins there. So what I'm getting at is our heroes were the wrestlers. And every Saturday, there was nobody playing ball. There was nobody out in the parks, nobody riding bicycles. All the bicycles were up at the house. Everybody's inside watching championship wrestling in Florida. And then, of course, when it was over, they'd come boiling out and start trying to moves on each other,
Yeah.
And so I went to my first match when I was about maybe 10 or 12 at the Fort Myers National Guard Armory. That's where they used to have the matches. And it was like a lot of other National Guard armories. It was big and hot, no air conditioning. And I think I saw Sam Steamboat and Kawatiki there. And then I think I might have seen the Medics and some others, some Hispanic wrestler that I can't remember who it was. And I went there a couple times. And then I took a little hiatus from going to the matches, and they started having them at the Lee Civic Center at that time, called the Lee County Arena. They would have them once a week on Sunday for quite a while, and saw everybody. I mean, but my first exposure to it was championship wrestling from Florida, and just the whole deal. I didn't know about any other wrestling. There was no internet up until the 70s. I didn't really see any other, like the After Mags, so I didn't know anything about anything else. And I started watching it pretty much in middle and high school, and got turned on by my favorites were Mike Graham and Steve Kern. And to me, that's the pinnacle. A lot of people don't think that, but it's what you're into when you're interested in it. It's the age when you get interested in it. Whatever's happening right then is what you kind of glom onto.
Yeah.
And then went on there. Dusty Rhodes face turn. I remember seeing that on Championship Wrestling from Florida, and it gave me goosebumps when it happened. It's just the way they wind everything up and set the story, and then all of a sudden what's going to happen, but when it does, you like it.
Yeah, there'll never be another Gordon Solie.
No.
His personality of being calm and cool and calling it scientifically with the way he was. I mean, there'll never be another.
Yeah, he was good. And then I got out of the wrestling, paying attention to it somewhere around 86, when at Championship Wrestling Florida kind of went downhill or went under. And so I didn't pay that much attention to it. I had my kids and business and stuff. And so, but Bob Collins, he went to, I think, that Super Bowl of wrestling in Miami. And he got to sit in the upper deck before the matches with Gordon. And Gordon let him wear his championship ring or something like that. I don't know what it was. But he said Gordon was pretty nice. So, he has that memory. But I never did get to meet Gordon. When I had the opportunities, I was just into different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you were to ask me about any wrestling, the current product today or anything, I know all the people from the group are into all that stuff, but you're speaking Chinese to me, because I paid a little bit of attention to it when Hulk Hogan came on the scene in 84 or 2 or 4, I'm not sure. And then paid a little bit of attention to it, but didn't really enjoy any of the WWE stuff. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was when Dusty Rhodes went to the WWE, and I go, okay, now this is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty Rhodes, the Bull of the Woods, I can see him in there with that bull rope and that cowbell, smashing people over the head with it and cutting them open and everything, like he did here.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shows up in polka dot shorts, sashaying around with his character being exaggerated.
Yep.
Just the character was exaggerated. The gimmick was exaggerated. I go, that's it. I quit. I'm done with this, and I don't think I've ever watched a damn thing again.
Yeah. Well, it's funny with me. I got out because I was in the military, and I still would go see the USWA. I was stationed out near Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. I loved USWA, and I loved the live much better than I do the television. But I considered myself, a fan, and I thought that I was like a wrestling nerd until I met Chris Zaha, Michael Herrick, Kevin Dingle, all those guys.
Yeah.
And they can quote dates and quote matches and talk about people's years. I was like, holy smokes. I am not a wrestling nerd. I'm a wrestling fan of the old product. I don't watch now. I'll watch clips on YouTube. That's about it. And it's good because I'm interested in how does the match begin and how does it end. I don't care about all the stuff in between because I just can't get lost in it like I used to.
Yeah, same here. With me, it was the personalities that you liked. And when those personalities weren't around anymore, everything kind of went away. But didn't you wrestle a little bit?
I did. Yeah. I don't talk about it a whole lot. This podcast has made me talk about it, but I kept it in the closet for years and years. And it just, what I found? I found that when you tell people that you did it, they're like, think you're crazy. They come with some, and right or wrong, but they just are like, I don't know, kind of made me seem like, I don't know.
Felt like there was a little bit of stigma to you being a professional wrestler.
Yeah, there was, and
unfounded, by the way. I think it's great, but I know where you're coming from. Nobody around here cares about wrestling. And my wife, she knows about the Fan Fest, and she's actually a member of the Facebook page, and so she knows all about that. But nobody's interested in anything. So I tell my son-in-law, he says, "Where are you going this weekend?" I says, "Well, I'm going to a Fan Fest in Orlando, Tampa." He goes, "What kind of Fan Fest?" I said, "Oh, professional wrestling, the wrestlers I grew up with." And he looks and goes, "Professional wrestling? Isn't that stuff fake?" And I go, "All right." I started to tell him, well, the ending is scripted, but I just gave up, Mm-hmm. I didn't even bother getting into it.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the time that I had in it and the people that I met and all that good stuff. But some of my friends recently found out that I did it in Wilmington, and to treat them, I showed them videos,
Mm-hmm.
but I had very specific rules. It was only I could control the remote, and I'm going to skip over the stuff that's horrible, and it was good. It was really good. I had a cousin that was in it with me, and he passed in 2015, and I was able to get some clips of him working, and he was actually working with me, and send it to his son, and his son's very appreciative of that, of seeing his dad in the ring doing something that he loved.
I had a friend of mine, my friend of mine's younger brother we grew up with, right around 86, 87, when championship wrestling from Florida kind of stopped, there was this indie circuit around, and at the Collier County Fairgrounds, they would have wrestling. And the people that would wrestle there, one guy was Gator B. Long. He was a local bouncer at the local cowboy bar. He's big, 6 foot, like a Ron Fuller type size. And the other, my buddy's brother, whose real name was Steve Jones, he'd adopted the moniker the Cadillac Kid. And of course, he was local, so everybody from Bonita came and watched the Cadillac Kid. I can't even remember if he was any good or not, but it was entertaining, so that was kind of fun. And then I don't know if you ever heard the story about, who Bob Cook is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard the story about how Bob Collins and I met Bob Cook. we used to sell pictures at the Lee Civic Center during the matches. And Bob, this young 12-year-old kid, real polite, good-looking young kid, would come up and buy pictures from us. And this went on for a couple of years. And then, he'd come up and say, hey, what's going on? He says, I'm going to be a wrestler. Sure, kid. Yeah, that's cool. And then he started telling us, yeah, I'm going to school in Tampa for wrestling. And we're like, oh, yeah? And which was the Great Malenko School of Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And one day we were at the matches or whatever, and we look up, there he was in the ring. And it's like Bob and I looked at each other and says, holy shit, he made it, which is pretty cool. And I hadn't seen Bob for 30 years, and then I saw him at the JCC Fanfest. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
No.
2015 at the old Fort Homer Hesterly Armory, which is the Jewish, now it's the Jewish JCC, Jewish Convention Center. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw him there, and he wasn't in a good mood. Dusty Rhodes had died that day.
Oh, no.
So it kind of put a downer on the whole event. But anyway, what I'm getting at is Rodney Sobelson and I are picking Bob Cook up on our way to Tampa, and he's going to make this fan fest.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to that because I've been trying to get him to come. He used to come when the first two or three were there, and then he hasn't come in a while. And tried to get him to come. Told him, we'd pick him up. We were going to pick him up when I picked Jerry Jarrett, but he couldn't make it. So I'm really happy that I get to pick him up and bring him to the Fan Fest, because a lot of people. He doesn't think he's very popular, but a lot of people want to meet him. I think he underestimates himself.
Yeah, you'll hear people put him over all the time. Like Arn Anderson put him over for his great punch.
Kevin Sullivan, and he was at the one Fan Fest. Bob was in the bathroom, and Kevin comes out and says, "Don't anybody say anything. Don't anybody say anything." And then when Bob Cook comes out of the bathroom, Kevin Sullivan puts him over. I mean, puts him over big time. And Bob's kind of looking around. You didn't expect that. But yeah, they all say he's great. All say he's great.
So how many conventions have you been to, wrestling-wise?
I've been to all the ones that we're going to, the Breaking Kayfabe ones.
Yeah.
Whatever, you want to call it.
CWF Legends Fanfest, June 4th, Luce, Florida.
At the Marriott Suncoast Parkway, North Point Village or something. Anyway,
yep.
I've got that screwed up. But then I went to one in 2015 at the JCC in Tampa, the old Fort Homer Hesterly Armory. And that was a big one. They had a lot of stars there. Not only Florida stars, but they had WWE stars, Roman Reigns, and some of the others. And, both Funks were there, and Terry and Dory, and just everybody else. Steve Kern was there, Jerry Briscoe, J.J. Dillon, a lot of others. And I didn't really get to meet a lot of wrestlers because it was so crowded. I went into the small room and met Steve Kern and Buddy Colt, who was one of my favorites, and met Bob Cook, and met a couple others. And then I went and waited in line to get in the big room, and I couldn't. I never went in because it was getting late. And so I went in and had some dinner, and I walked back over there, and the line hadn't even moved. So I said, screw that. But anyway, it's the first time I met Barry Rose. We'd been kind of talking on the internet way back from he used to host a message board. I don't remember, Championship Wrestling from Florida message board. There used to be all different territories you could go, and he used to host that. And we got to talking about Eddie Graham and pictures and stuff. I sent him a couple of pictures, and but I never met him for like 10 years, and I finally met him at that JCC thing in 2015. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the way they run this CWF Legends Fanfest. I love that it's small, that it's intimate, that you don't feel rushed. I love that you can that there's so much going on outside of the room there of guys talking and hanging out. You can have all kinds of conversations.
Yeah, I agree. That's when I went to the first few, it was about more or less about the talent there, and because I hardly didn't know anybody. I met some acquaintances, everybody nice, but I mainly went for the wrestlers. And then as we started running out of wrestlers to get, I still went because I wouldn't mind meeting some of these other guys, and I started to form friendships within the group, and now it's to the point where I think the social aspect of it is why I'm going more than the wrestlers, because I don't know. I've seen Sullivan before, and he's great. Seen him a couple times. He's great, but seen all these guys before. So now it's pretty much the social aspect of it, and I still enjoy the wrestlers, but that's why I'm going now.
Yeah, that's what really got me, and also Jana. I mean, she's not a fan of wrestling, never has been, doesn't care anything about it, but she'll participate in anything that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And when we are there and just talking to all these people, and I was a little out of my element at the last two. The first one I had no clue how it worked, so I just came in, said hey, left. The next one, I was, even when I sat there with you, I wasn't real outgoing because I wasn't sure how everything worked.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. We sat right next to each other. Me and Bob Collins and you and your wife sat right next to it. Never uttered a word. I kind of thought you were quiet and maybe a little reserved, but
yeah, you guys were talking. I don't know, some stuff that was way over my head, and we were also watching a wrestler there that might have had a little much. We won't mention his name.
Okay.
and so I was kind of being. I'm a people watcher, so I was watching a lot that was going on behind you and Bob.
Yeah.
It was real well. And then the other thing is that there was those ladies that kept talking, and I've got the ADD bad, and so they were killing me. They were literally killing me with their talking.
Did you say ADD?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We're brothers, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I can't. When somebody's talking to me, I can't add 2 and 2 together. It's terrible.
That is me 100%. And those ladies were talking, and I was trying to listen to I don't know, either Lynn Denton or somebody, and I'm trying to listen to you guys, and it was just it's like the room is buzzing me. And then of course it's that late, and it's too late to take any kind of ADD medication, because then I'll be up all night.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just gotta suffer through it and be like, okay, it's a little much for me, but hopefully this year I'll be a little more in my element now that
I'll go ahead and we'll obviously have a good conversation when we see you at FanFest. We're friends now, and look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, we're really excited about it this year. I excited that the couple guys that we got coming. Jason Ward and Tony Botts, happy to have them coming in, and we'll be picking them up from the airport on Friday.
Now, Jason Ward's no relation to Jamie, right?
No. Completely different.
Common name, but I didn't.
Yeah. So Jamie's over in Philadelphia. Jason's over in the Pacific Northwest.
Wow. I think I have to tell you, it's really a great thing you and your wife did for those people. I'm sorry the one fella passed away and couldn't come, but I think it's just amazing, you guys reaching out and helping people come that couldn't come.
Well, it's like one step down from life-changing for me to see how these guys are so loving, entertaining, all have different stories, all different backgrounds. And a lot of them, pay a lot of money to go from, the Midwest or wherever to come down to this. It's not,
you're right.
It can be a real financial drain. And, this might be a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of those. And for us that live here where it's just an hour or two drive, it's a little easier. And so we just wanted to spread that love around,
Oh, you guys certainly did that. That was great. I was sorry. Who's the fellow that passed away?
Joe Christie.
Joe. Yeah, I had kind of saw through a little bit of what he was talking about on the page, and I private messaged him, and we compared notes and all kinds of stuff. And I check back in with him every few months, and I hadn't checked back in with him for a while. And then I heard that he passed away. That was really, really sad.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks to the day that he called and told me that the medication wasn't working, and there wasn't a whole lot that he thought they could do for him. And that he was going into, it wasn't hospice, it was something else that he called it. And but it was 3 weeks to the day that he passed. So he went from, in 3 weeks time, he's going to be going to FanFest and looking forward to it. We rented him a scooter and all this stuff.
Oh,
and 3 weeks of, he goes from, he's going to be there to now he's just going to be made comfortable on the way out. And I mean, that was hard, and there was a group of guys, I don't know if you were on it, who collected all this money. And I think they ended up getting $640.
Oh.
And before they could decide what to do with the money, he was already dead.
Mm.
Well, he was already out. So like the last week, he wasn't saying anything, wasn't able. He was, they put you on the medicine to keep you sedated, and so for the last week, they just like, well, what are we going to do? And I think they ended up donating it to his brother or sister for burial.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. That's the kind of folks that we have in the brothership, and that's what really, for me, makes the FanFest special. Sure, you can meet Kevin Sullivan, Steve Kern, Bob Roop won't be there this year, but Medusa Michelli, the Masked Superstar.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can meet those, but you get their entertainment for a little bit, but then you have all of us and all the other, conversations. Mm-hmm. Did you go out to eat to Glory Days?
Can you say that again, please?
Did you go out to eat at Glory Days after everything was over with?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So did you sit at the big long table with everyone?
Yeah, I sat with Randy Rusk and Neely, and Adam Domo was right behind me. It's where I learned how to pronounce his name properly. He says, I'm Adam Domo. I said, can you pronounce that one more time?
Uh-huh.
They're calling him Adam Domau or Dumu. Something. Anyway, he was a nice guy, too. And who else was there sitting right around us? Can't quite remember. But anyway, had a great time with everybody and hanging out. And Barry has asked me one time, he says, which one did you like? Which FanFest did you like? This one or that one? And I sat there, I think they're different. There's not one better than the other. I did like meeting Kevin Sullivan and all that. And but I think the last one we went to, the one you went to, was where it was my favorite, because we picked up Jerry Jarrett, got to spend 2.5, 3 hours talking to him, and I never knew it, but he's got his fingerprints all over the wrestling world, all over the world. And hanging out and listening to one of the Rock and Roll Express, Robert Gibson, listening to him talk and wanting to show everybody how to shoot or something like that. And I'm going, no thanks. I'll just sit and watch. But anyway, there's a lot of interaction with the talent, with the wrestlers in that one. And everything seemed funny and fun, and then dinner and all that kind of stuff. It's just really nice. I think that was my favorite one, the last.
Good. Well, maybe after this one, you'll have a new favorite.
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
Well, cool, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Had a little technical issues, but we worked through them. Two of us putting their IT heads together, solved the problem.
I'm sure that was on my end, because I haven't Skyped in 10 years. So all these buttons and things it's all Greek to me. So
yeah.
Good. Well, we'll talk at FanFest, and I hope I wasn't too long-winded.
Man, you're perfect. Absolutely. I decided, it took me a little trial and error to sort of figure out what to do, what to talk about, how to keep the conversations to a good length. Mm-hmm. And so I decided, about an hour if it's one person, and 2 if it's three or four of us or whatever. So it's worked, and I thought you were great. I mean, I got a lot of stories. Next time I'll ask you about your telescope there behind you.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll save that for next time. Oh, and the guitar. You play guitar too. So we got a lot to talk about next time.
Yeah, sounds good. And when I see you at the Fan Fest, or maybe I'll save it for next time, I'll tell you some Jerry Jarrett stories that stuff told me and Bob Collins. Bob made almost every one of those Fan Fests except for this one. He's got work on because he can't go. So
yeah, Jerry Jarrett was the one that impressed me the most.
Oh, I'll tell you some stories. He was a heck of a guy, man. I mean,
yeah. Well, it's like if you go and you're talking to someone and your wife is there, bored out of her mind, you want someone to be engaging with her, and that's what he did for Jana.
Exactly. That's really nice. He's such a nice man.
Well, it's like with the rock and roll, because I was first in line or second line for them. I felt like they were trying to rush through. Hey, what you want? They were hoping to sell a whole bunch of gimmicks,
right,
which usually isn't the feel in the Fan Fest.
Right.
And so probably they simmered down a little bit after they got in the groove. But Jerry Jarrett was just there having a conversation, not a care in the world, asking Jana questions and stuff. So he really made an impression on me. Sorry, I missed out on his books.
Yeah, I did too. But we discussed a lot of things on our trip, and one of them was where he was from or where he lives. No, I'm sorry. He lives around Nashville, but he was telling me that he liked to go to PF Chang's. And I said, oh, my son's good buddy manages the PF Chang's in Franklin, Tennessee. He goes, we go there all the time. I like the lettuce wraps. So what I'm trying to do is, I still got his phone number. I'm trying to, ahead of time, get a hold of my buddies, my son's friend who manages it, give him some money, and then message Jerry Jarrett when he goes in there, ask for Wojo, and he'll come out and meet him and comp the meal and stuff like that. I thought that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it really will. Well, cool, Mark. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time. Great talking to you, and I'll see you in just a couple of weeks.
You as well. This was fun. All right. Yeah. A couple of weeks.
All right. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
There we go. We are back. That was Marc Russ and I talking. I can't wait to have him back on. I can't wait to see him in a couple of days at the CWF Legends Fanfest. And if you haven't gotten tickets and you can make it, please do. Go just Google CWF Legends Fanfest, go to the Eventbrite website and buy them. I'm sure there are still some for purchase. I was hoping they would sell out, but as of yet, they have not sold out.
And it's so close. Time goes by quickly. It's already June. This weekend, CWF Legends Fanfest is coming. If you haven't bought a ticket yet and you're in the area, or you are thinking of going, you're on the fence or whatever, just freaking buy it. Just go and purchase your ticket and enjoy yourself. Meet some legends, meet the brothership, meet Barry, meet Jeff. It's I wish I can go. I really wish I can go, but I can't. I'll try to go. I guess November is the next one, right? It's twice a year. Yeah, I'll try to aim for November, but yeah, if you're listening to this and you have the opportunity to go, if you really want to go and you're kind of maybe not, go. Purchase a ticket and go.
You know what you could do is you could come here, and then after you leave here, you could catch an Allegiant flight up to Concord and go see your sister and your niece, and then you can fly out of Concord and go, or Charlotte, and go back home.
That's I didn't even think about that. That's a good idea. It's right there, right? It's like 2 states away.
The flights out of here with Tampa or St. Pete or Allegiant, you get the discount airlines. They're cheap. I think we flew up and back for $200 or less for 4 of us.
Wow, that's awesome. Wait, do you get the little plane or the big? I don't know.
No. I mean, it's 3 rows across. I mean, there's 3 and then 3. So
Okay.
I'm not sure the model, but it's it's discount. That didn't count any carry on. So we all carried a backpack, and I mean, we fly cheap, but we fly a lot. So I really don't give a shit about I don't think there's first class on this plane anyway. But we flew Allegiant, flew out of St. Pete, cheap. And we love it. So instead of spending $500 per person, we're able to go $50 per person, leave some more money in our wallets to do other things that we love. And we always, my wife is very thrifty, frugal, economical. She's smart. I mean, and successful. I mean, she runs her business that way, and I say her business that her shoot job. She makes people money. And so, that's the way we do it. And it's pretty inexpensive when you do it right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I guess here flying, I guess there's not that many, like quote unquote cheap airline, unless you want to count Southwest. That's the thing here, I guess. And, but we don't have like.
Where would you fly out
of? San Jose International. Usually San Jose International Airport.
Okay. Let's see who you got to choose from.
So it's SJC. The airport's SJC for the code.
All right. You got American, Delta, Southwest. Oh, you've got the JetBlue.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 there. You've got the JetBlue and the Southwest.
Yeah, Southwest goes to more places than JetBlue. JetBlue, I like JetBlue actually. I flew to New York on JetBlue and I loved it, but they don't go to as many places as Southwest does, and Southwest is shit. But it'll get you there in one piece sometimes many pieces.
Yeah, we've flown Southwest. I think it goes out of Tampa. Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. Let's see if they have Tampa. They don't have a nonstop to Tampa, I don't believe. No, but you could get a stop. Oh man, you got a bunch of places in Southwest. Hey,
yeah.
I didn't know you were an airline snob.
I try not to die. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not really good on airplanes. I've only been on an airplane like a handful of times in my entire life. And I'm always have that fear that mainly I've flown Southwest, and lately they've been having issues with their planes, such as engines falling off or doors opening in mid-flight or something like that. And that's always in the back of my mind. Like, I know it's rare for it to happen because people fly every day. There's planes out in the sky all the time. And I know that, the odds that the plane that I'm on something's going to happen to it is very low. It's kind of like, because I also have to think that you're on the road all the time, going to and from work, and car accidents happen. So yet I still drive to work. So I need to instill that into my head about flying, that it's safe to fly. It's okay. You're gonna be fine. But I'm always scared, like if I go on Southwest or something like that, that something might happen. But that's just me. I really got to get over it. I got to go out and fly more. And I should be fine after that. But right now I'm like, very cautious about things. And it could happen to, and it doesn't matter if it's Southwest or Delta or American Airlines or whatever. It could happen to any plane. It doesn't have, it doesn't have to be like the top of the line bullshit, stuff like that. It can happen anytime or not happen at all. But for some reason, I just can't get that part out of my mind right now.
Okay. Well, yeah. We'll see if there's an adult beverage or a pharmaceutical that might could help you with that.
That would be great. But I snore, so I'm kind of like considerate of other people,
Well,
My
not
sleep
when you're
apnea
not
might
when you're
kick
asleep. You're
in.
not.
Well, that's true. But my sleep apnea might kick in. People might think I'm like taking my last gasps of air when I'm sleeping.
Which with sleep
Yeah.
apnea, you never know. You could be.
I know. That's what happened when I had my surgery last year. That's how they found out I had sleep apnea, when I stopped breathing while they were doing my surgery, and they freaked out. When I got my gallbladder removed last year. They're like, oh, yeah, by the way, you have sleep apnea. You stopped breathing a couple of times during surgery.
So is the mask working?
What mask?
You don't wear a mask? You don't wear a CPAP?
No, I haven't even gotten diagnosed officially yet.
The hell are you waiting for? You to your dad? Oh, causing
Probably.
death. Sleep apnea. Come on, buddy.
I know.
Take care of yourself.
I do.
You've heard JR talk about it.
Yeah, I have. I have friends that have it, and yeah, they said the mask works for them. At first, it was kind of weird, but it ended up working for them.
And they have like newer masks. I forget what they call it. Steven Jaworski uses a dental thing that works for him. Seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, get that shit taken care of, pal.
Yeah, I need to.
Because we need you to be at the next Fan Fest.
That is true. Yeah, I need to get my health affairs in order. I still have to take my A1C for my my hemoglobin and diabetes, and then my eye test for my diabetes, stuff like that. So,
shit, pal, you're going downhill, man.
Well,
tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start a GoFundMe.
No,
we're gonna get ahead of this.
No, it's fine. It's cool. I got it under control. I say that now, but no GoFundMe, no nothing like that.
All right, I'm kidding.
I know.
Hey, dude, I ain't between my naps. I ain't got time for your GoFundMes. Hey, but seriously, we got to get you to the CWF Legends Fan Fest. Everybody would be happy to see you. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah,
sure
that would be great. Yeah.
The brothership, they would love to see you, and everybody's getting excited about this. And last November we were there. Everyone kept asking about Shard. And Shard, if you don't know, I'm going to break kayfabe here. Shard is the same person as Russell.
Mm-hmm.
So Russell, you see Russell posting more. You see Shard these days. I guess it just depends on when Zuckerberg kicks him off the Facebook.
Right.
Did I tell you I almost got my first suspension from Facebook?
Really? You rebel, what happened?
Well, so I don't know if you saw this post. It was someone in the WWE. I may be messing the name up. Raquel Gonzalez. Her finishing move was called La Chingona.
Yeah, the badass bomb.
Yes, right.
But yeah.
Yeah, and so Fox kept censoring it because they thought Chingona was a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
And so I typed in, being funny, pinches gringos. And I got a warning. And it said, we will delete your post for you or something like that. So my post is deleted. Yeah. So for you, those of you who are uninitiated, it means fucking white people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know before anybody gets all upset. I know what you're all thinking. But hey, if you're going to say that you think someone is swearing, then you better make sure that they're actually swearing. So take a time to Google the word and learn what it means instead of being a Karen.
Right, exactly. Or ask somebody on staff who's Latino.
Oh, wow. You said that great, man.
Or speak Spanish, fluently, or a little bit of Lee. What the hell? That speaks some Spanish, and ask them, what does this mean? Sure, the root word is kind of bad, right? But that specific word in general doesn't mean what Fox thought it meant.
Right, exactly. And the word he's saying is chinga,
Hmm.
like chinga tu madre, fuck your mother
Fuck your
is what
mother.
that means,
Right.
right? But it's chingona. It means it's the best.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, just 2 minutes of research or a couple seconds of asking somebody that's Latino that works there or on Fox. I don't know if any Latinos work on Fox.
so I went back
Yeah.
to the original post that I was, and I got around it. Do you know how I got around it?
Uh-oh, what'd you do? How?
I typed pink, P-I-N-K,
Mhm.
cheese, C-H-E-E-S-E, green, G-R-E-E-N, ghost, G-H-O-S-T.
Oh,
Pink.
so that's
Green ghost.
I saw that. I'm like, what is Frankie on? I didn't see the original one, but I saw your workaround and I didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah, see? There you go. Pink cheese,
I-
green ghost. And back about 2014, I always have a bunch of great ideas.
Mhm.
One of them was to create like these comic characters known as Pink Cheese and Green Ghost.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Now, for the record, I am not Latino. I am a gringo loco.
Mhm.
I am of German and English ancestry, like probably 90% of the white people in America. But I don't know. Somehow I thought that was funny, and I had an artist friend draw up these cartoons, and I was all excited about it. And but I just didn't have the time or the whatever. And one of my ideas was to just poke at stupid things that happens in America, like our infatuation with whatever. So, for instance, right now I would have these comic characters interacting or portraying as if they were Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a picture of it. I know that I've got it.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Your idea of pink cheese and the green ghost. Like, well, what would their storyline background be? I mean, did you think about their their origin, their background, if they have any powers, any type of thing going on,
Oh no,
or just
no.
are they just
Yeah, no. It would just be completely satire.
satire? Okay.
Of situations and um.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can send this to you. There we go. Take a look at your phone.
Wow, that's a very big penis you sent me. Just kidding. Okay, where am I looking at? The video's still on there. There you go. It's loading up. Oh, hey, that's cute. That is cute. The little flags and everything. That's so cool. That is so cool. I would love to have this on a T-shirt.
Yeah, right. So one of my ideas was to like this is when Kanye and Kim first got together was to
Mhm.
make fun of them, and have one of them obviously dressed or fashion similar to Kim, and the other with Kanye with the glasses on,
Mhm.
and then you just have them saying something stupid. Pink cheese, green ghost pokes fun at not just white people, but it's all Americans. Green ghost is American, is what
Mhm.
it's the Americans. Like the Gaijins, the foreigners, and the Japanese wrestling vernacular.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to get in an uproar because I said white people a bunch of times on this episode. Relax. It's all fun and games. I'm not really, starting anything racial here. No big controversies.
No.
But anyway, because Kanye West is obviously not white,
Obviously.
which was going to be my first idea.
Mhm. But that's cool though, having the satire. Those two. I really make that into a T-shirt. I would love to have a T-shirt of of those two characters.
Oh, great! I think I can work on that for you. You know, making T-shirts is my new hobby.
I've noticed.
Yep.
That is awesome.
It is, and I make it for the boys, and you try to get a laugh. I just want to make the world a better place by loving people and making people laugh.
Yeah.
So I make a lot of dumb jokes. Oh, my son gave me a thumbs up.
Of course.
It was either a thumbs up or a middle finger. I couldn't tell. I didn't have my reading glasses on.
Oh well. I mean, you're number one in either case.
Right? He knows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know what? I've had that similar affinity towards making T-shirts too. A couple of years back, there's actually a picture of Bull Nakano that I wanted to make into a T-shirt, but they've already done it on another one of those custom T-shirt sites. So I haven't gone around to buying it, but I was like, I really wanted to make, because I saved a picture of this certain picture of Bull, and I wanted to put it on a T-shirt, have it screen on a T-shirt. But the T-shirt shops here, especially the ones in the mall, they use very low quality screening process. So after a while, after a couple of washes, it will peel off or get kind of distressed and whatnot. So I haven't really found a place to make T-shirts at, and most of them won't even do one shirt. They would, you have to order in bulk. And,
well, if you don't mind, I'll handle this one.
No, actually, they make the T-shirt now on one of the websites I go to get like my shirts.
What is it?
And
how much is it?
I gotta go check. It's on
Breadshirt.com is where I've been making the ones for the boys.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've sent you some that I've made.
Yeah, you did. Those are awesome.
I'm waiting on an idea to make you one.
I don't know, Golden Girls or something.
No. Here's my gimmick. Okay. For you that don't know the T-shirts that I've made, they're wrestling themed.
Okay.
Wrestling themed, and I make it as if the boy is a wrestler. There's a Chris Zaha coming out that will be debuted at FanFest probably by the time anyone hears this.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So is he your first wrestling themed T-shirt guinea pig?
I actually made one of Buddy Landell with pictures that I bought from Pete Letterberg.
Okay.
Because when I recorded with Drew Samuels, he said Buddy was his favorite. So I try and do nice things for people all the time. It keeps me, healthy mentally. And so I came up with, this Buddy Landell shirt, and I made it for him. And then when I showed it to Pete Letterberg, he said, who else loves Buddy Landell? The Booker, Jeff Baldwin.
Ooh, yeah.
So so the saying on it said, "Be blessed and be a blessing." And after I ordered Jeff's shirt, he texted me and says, "You think you could remove it without the saying? I don't want people to get upset." I said, "Well, if they get upset over that, then they don't deserve a blessing, Jeff." But I ordered him another, and I'll give it to him this weekend.
Nice. You've met him. I mean, you were there when he did an interview with High Spots, right? You were.
Who's that, Buddy? Oh, Buddy. Yeah. I thought you were talking about Jeff Buddy. Yeah.
Okay. No, I was thinking of one of the.
You got a follow-up question?
No, I was thinking about maybe. No, this isn't in bad taste. Never.
All right, Ariel. I think we're gonna call this the go home. Thank you so much for recording with me. So good talking to you again. We will do it next week, and we'll talk about what a great time everyone had at the CWF Legends Fanfest, Lutz, Florida. Google it.
I'm going to be so jealous. Take a lot of pictures and take a lot of pictures of the food also, if you're going to go eat.
Yep. I'm hoping to maybe do some recording while we're there. We'll see.
Oh, that would be great.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining us and sticking around and hanging out. Thank you, Ariel, for taking the time to be my popular co-host.
I have no choice. Just kidding. You dangle that money in front of me, and then of course, no, just kidding. Thanks for having me again, and I hope you have fun during the FanFest.
All right, everyone, take care. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.